Like Wayne's World.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Live. Hello, everybody. Hello. We are live on the Huntley Fall Fest Facebook page with an amazing tribute, Rock Brigade. Guys, hold off just for 1 second. I got a couple things to read off. Huntley Fall Fest, we're going to be running September 25th, 26th, and 27th. We are planning on going forward with this fest, so we're pretty excited about that. We have you guys on the 25th with Modern Day Romeo, so that's going to be a great night. Huntley Fall Fest is at the Dikey Park, Huntley Park District grounds, right off Randall Road, easy to get to. And we are sponsored by First National Bank of Omaha, so thank you for sponsoring our stages and a lot of our fest. We've got a car show, carnival. Soha Brewery, which is right in Huntley, has 2 new brews for us. One is a Oktoberfest and one is a IPA. And I think you guys will enjoy those. So, yep, we're going to have fun with that. And with that said, Rock Brigade, how are you guys doing?
Doing
Great.
Great.
Doing well, guys.
Fantastic.
Good. Bill, it looks like you're doing better than most of us here. What's going on there?
Hey, sitting in the hot tub, enjoying a fine glass of wine and a good stogie. So nothing wrong with that.
No doubt.
Please don't stand up. I understand you don't wear shorts in the hot tub.
Bathing swimsuits are optional at the hot tub.
Don't stand up.
So yeah, please stay sitting. Just for us
All right.
alone.
Yeah.
So the obvious question is, you know, we've all been home. What have you guys been doing for the last, 10 weeks, 12 weeks?
Work.
Yeah,
Still working at the
yeah.
post office.
Essential.
Delivering mail to rich people.
We have a lot of social workers in this band.
So raise your hands. Who has day jobs? Right. So y'all, and Bill, you still own the company?
Well, no, actually, I think the COVID-19 took that down. So
Gotcha.
I have a new job and a new position I'm very excited about, but I'll be announcing that shortly.
Congrats on that.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
So most
Well, you still a
working
little
when we
quiet,
can.
Bill, so maybe get closer to your
I'll
camera.
get closer.
Yeah. So most of us, when we're not working, and not watching everything on Netflix, we're trying to either do some collaborations with ourselves or other musicians, just to stay busy. We're actually getting to the point where we're starting to set up a rehearsal spot, so we'll be able to rehearse again soon. We haven't really rehearsed in a while, so I hope I can still sing. But we're getting ready for a lot of things as things are starting to open back up, and we're really excited about Huntley Fall Fest. That's for sure.
Yeah, you guys have to get into the studio pretty quick here. You got a couple shows that are coming up in June and July that have those either come back or are they new things that are going on? What's the story there?
Some things have got moved. Bill, you could probably expand on this. I know that our first definite show is actually in Pittsburgh on July 3rd.
Yes.
I don't know. I'd have to look at the calendar, to be quite honest with you. I'm doing that right this second, with everything else that's going on. But yeah, I mean, like a lot of stuff, there's a little bit of uncertainty. Some stuff got moved, some stuff got canceled, some stuff got rescheduled for next year. The next one we have, like I said, is in Pittsburgh. And then I think the following one, Bill, maybe you can.
Rock Falls.
That's
Falls.
it. And what's the date on that? Do you know?
It's
Well,
11.
anybody can go to your Facebook page or your webpage, right? rockbrigade.com.
Rockbrigade.com, ROKbrigade.com. Correct.
Yeah. So yeah, they can find your tour schedule. And like I said, I know you guys have been working on things with the new changes that we're dealing with. So let's just jump on the Huntley Fall Fest information first. How do you guys feel about being on stage with Modern Day Romeos?
Very
It's
fun.
literally
Fun.
Jimmy.
You guys, you all know the guys in Modern Day, right?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
No?
There's enough room. There's like 8 guys in that band.
We know them, but we don't speak to them.
Well, they're good guys. They're good guys.
No, we obviously know them. They're very good friends. Probably the guy, one of the few people that's taller than Marty in the industry, which is Jimmy. So, but again, as I said, someone to look up to. He's 6'17". But no, great guys, great musicians, great entertainment. We're really excited about it. I'm gonna put this on record that we may or may not. We may lead to an onstage prank. I'm going to throw that right there, right now.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I'm not saying if they have fans, I would say keep away from any type of confetti. We'll leave it at that. So, but we're really looking forward to it.
Yep.
Are you,
Nice. Bill,
Bill's
I
doing
love
an
the view
inception
there.
there.
You're looking at yourself.
I'm to see if there'll be any feedback.
No, this is
it's
not
all
a
good.
stage, Bill.
It's all
But
good.
we're
So,
very excited, Jim.
have you guys played with any of the guys in Modern Day Romeos yet? Over the years in other projects that you had or shared a stage with them?
Absolutely.
I played a bunch of shows with those guys in pretty much every band I've ever been in, and they're a really good time to play with. They're a lot of fun. Their fans are always really gracious to whatever band is playing with them, and I've done a ton of shows with those guys, and it's always really cool, very pro, really, really well liked. So it's fun. It's cool stuff. Did you just throw something at me?
I threw it back. She's not watching. When she's not watching these, I'm waving to her.
Yeah.
That's my only way to monitor with her.
There you go.
Friction had played a bunch of shows with Modern Day, and one of the cool things at our rehearsal spot, Modern Day rehearses there, so we often crash their rehearsal room, they often crash ours, and they're just great guys. We have a blast with them.
Yep.
Yep.
Nice.
Absolutely.
So when you guys go to your practice spot, that's right there in. I'm not going to say where it's at.
Yeah.
What happened, Jim?
Different, don't you? Modern Day.
We're losing your audio, Jim.
We
We
lost
lost you.
Oh no!
What's
There
going
you
on?
Fix it. Fix it.
You guys there?
Hit it.
Yes, now we
Hit
can
it.
hear you.
All right. Sorry about that. So when you guys are at your practice spot, which I'm not going to say where it's at, there's more than just you and Modern Day, right? It's a pretty big practice spot.
20 rooms, and most of the rooms are filled with bands. Some are original bands, some are cover bands. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool atmosphere, and it's you're surprised sometimes at the music you hear coming out of the rooms. There's a band in there that plays a lot of death metal, and they were in there jamming some Fleetwood Mac, and I'm like, wow, that really sounded good. It's a cool place.
I think I played in 6 different bands in that location.
No.
Yeah.
So when you guys practice and you have all those bands there, do you guys ever stop what you're doing because you don't know what you're playing, or are the rooms quiet enough?
They're generally isolated, but every once in a while you'll hear a death metal band tuned down to Q, and it's just this low drone of everything. But it's to the point where we actually started using our in-ears at practice, so we have even further isolation. But even when we didn't, nothing's louder than Marty Craven's guitar. So until we got Hugo into this whole thing, and then my tinnitus came back in my left ear. So that's why we went to in-ears. So
You'll be fine.
just walk it off.
You'll be fine. Throw some dirt on it.
Yeah, Marty actually wasn't aware that you could actually turn down the volume on the guitar. He thought it only went one way.
It's true.
It only goes clockwise, not counterclockwise.
That's right, buddy.
So Marty, I'm gonna pick on you a little bit here, since everyone else is. And
Thank
just keep in mind these are fun stuff. So I understand that you wrote a guitar riff for your daughter. Have you ever played that live, or you've just played it for your oldest daughter, Brandy?
Which one? Where did you hear this at?
I have my sources, my man.
Yeah. By the way, a heads up, we forgot to go over this. people have gone in and sent questions into Jim that he's going to be asking us live for us to react.
Oh, that one.
Fantastic.
No, I wrote that one before she was born.
Right.
And I remember I called it October Sky before the movie came out. And it was an acoustic piece. And I never really performed it in front of many people. But no, it's a beautiful acoustic piece, but it's from a long time ago. But
Is
I
that
got to get
something-
that recorded.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is that something that you're thinking about recording, or is it just a guitar riff, or is it a song? What?
No, it's just an open tune. It's like down to C. It's an open tuning down in C. It was my own collaboration on my own creation of the tuning. But it's just kind of it's just an instrumental piece. It's just how I felt when I knew I was going to be a father. That's what it was all about. So yeah, it's a beautiful piece. I'll bring it out someday. I will.
Awesome. Well, I'd love to hear it. And you have 2 other daughters.
Yes.
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 And
Surrounded by girls. Yes.
I understand that that you're a huge Beatles fan, apparently.
Huge what?
Beatles fan.
Oh yeah, big Beatles fan. Yeah.
What are the 2 songs that you picked when your 2 daughters were born?
You knew that one.
I do know the answer.
Here Comes the Sun, and I think it was Something was the other one that we heard. Yeah. That was
the way she moves me.
So why pick those songs? What were the meanings for those songs and your daughters?
I thought I'd start their whole life out with the, within like 45 minutes of them being, on this earth. I wanted to teach them the best pop music writers of all time. And I thought we played Beatles for them, both of them. And they still love the Beatles. I mean, my daughter was like 6 years old and she never heard this one Beatles song. I said, "Who do you think this is?" She goes, "It sounds like the Beatles." I said, "You never heard it before?" She goes, "No, it just sounds like them." But they just love the Beatles. So I just thought start them off with the best rock and roll and best music that was ever written, because 86% of the songs are about love, and I thought might as well get them going on that.
That's awesome, man. That's awesome.
It's simple, but it's what it is.
I want to add to one thing about Marty is Marty has this sense. I don't even know how to describe it, but he's got this thing where he's always thinking about his children and his friends' children. He's actually saved a newspaper from when my daughter was born and gave it to me a couple of years later, and I still have that. It was, and even in a band together, and we're friends and knew people from the industry. Something he did. So he's got this great sense of just compassion.
Community.
Thank you. The perfect word. So I publicly thank you again for that, Marty.
And
So
let me add one thing, Jim, right before you finish. And you know what, Jim is, my 2 of my kids are big into music and they write their own originals. My daughter has 2 albums out. My son has put a lot of rap music out, and Marty has been so supportive of them, and not just with me. He reaches out to them and talks to them about their music, and it's really, and this was well before we ever played in the band together. It's incredible, and it means so much to my children to hear Marty, who's one of the best guitar players in all of Chicago, to have him have his input on their own music. So
you raised them right. And I wanted to let them know that they're doing something great, and they do. They have a great vision. They're driven too. His kids are amazing. So
yeah, they are. I love their music. Not rap so much, Bill. Sorry, I'm not a rap guy, but
he's great at what he does.
Yeah, I can handle it. I listen to it when I have to. Hey, Marty, one quick last one before I'm going to go to somebody else, and then I'm going to come back to you because I actually have most notes on you for some reason. Are you afraid of the dark?
Say it again?
Are you afraid of the dark?
No, I'm afraid of deep water, but not the dark. Afraid of the dark.
Why so many flashlights around the house then?
Oh, come on!
I just got to know.
Why so? Did Candace send this? Okay. Why so many flashlights? I just was intrigued with flashlights when I was a kid. I just love, just in case the power went out. I hated when the power went out when I was a kid and there was no flashlights. I always had flashlights in every single room. So that's what I do now. So yeah,
I know I'm razzing you a little bit about the flashlights, but I'll tell you that when I grew up, I would have a flashlight in my hand, and back then, you didn't have the lasers, you didn't have the things that you have today.
right.
But
right.
I always thought that if you pointed the flashlight outside, that it would just go forever. Did you ever think that?
Yeah. Yeah. And then you get these newer flashlights that are just so bright, it's just amazing. And I'm still amazed with that. Yeah. Yeah. I'm always on the outlook for the best flashlight out there, the brightest one,
So what's the best one you have, Marty? What's the best flashlight you have in your house?
I can't. The
It's like
best
a flashlight.
one.
It's a flashlight 2000.
Can you see it
Flash.
on the moon? Does it light
Yeah, I
up the
can see
moon?
the moon.
Yeah.
One will burn paper,
How many lumens? How many lumens?
Now you're getting into my
1200.
territory, Jose.
1200.
That's
1200
awesome.
lumens.
Yeah.
So, Bill, you have kids. Chris, you have kids. Len, I don't think you have any kids, do you?
I have 3 kids. I have 3
You
boys.
do have 3 kids.
I have 3 boys. Yep.
Are they into music?
They like listening to music. we tried earlier on to kind of give them lessons, but they were more interested in sports, so they went into that.
And do you guys play other instruments than what you're playing in the current band? Like, Len, what do you
Yes.
play other instruments?
I played drums also.
You started out with drums.
I started out with drums. Yeah.
Why the change from drums to keyboards?
Well, it pretty much when Friction started, when I moved next door to the bass player at the time, before Friction began, it was Tom Wolski, and he said, hey, I see you bringing in some equipment. And I said, yeah, I'm a drummer. And he goes, too bad, we're looking for a keyboard player. And I said, well, I can play keyboards too. I haven't played in many years, but I'll grab a keyboard and jam with you guys. And that band actually then turned into what became Friction. So 21 years ago. So,
Wow.
yeah.
The founding father. One of the founding fathers.
Yeah.
Do you still play drums?
I when I can, yes, I still like to play around with it. Yeah.
Hugo, have you ever let him play your drums?
He can pound on my drums whenever he wants. I got no problem with that.
Yeah.
He can play them whenever he wants to. I definitely won't be playing his keyboards though. I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna give you the microphone. Marty's gonna go behind keyboards. Bill's gonna go on guitar, and I'm just gonna watch.
I'm not standing in front of the mic stand is not wide enough to cover me. That's why I have such a big drum set. So there's no the stage with a mic stand just all willy-nilly out there. No, that's not for me. But thank you though.
I've seen you play air guitar running around a room in Fort Wayne, Indiana, Hugo.
I used to carry my my PlayStation 2 with me everywhere, and I had every Guitar Hero game. So I would take my wireless BC Rich Warlock Guitar Hero controller with me everywhere, and I memorized a bunch of tunes. So I would just run around and play these tunes from memory and not look at the screen. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
This is when we were touring with another band, and he's literally running around the entire room, and he just nailing everything. We had to put it down and play drums for 2 hours. What's that?
I was good at guitar on Guitar Hero, but when they came out with the drums, I was terrible at it. Awful.
I suck at guitar on Guitar Hero.
I can't play toy drums, and I'm okay with that.
That's funny. That's funny. Have you always played drums, Hugo? You ever play any other instruments, or is it?
I played classical clarinet for 12 years, and I will tell you that I was a better clarinet player than I'll ever be a drummer.
I'll second that.
So
He's good. And
I played for a long time. That's where I learned pretty much that's where I learned all my musical theory and learned everything I needed to know. Well, not that I needed to know, but everything I did about music, and all my band directors were all very supportive and they all pushed me. And apparently they had arrangements with my mom to push me really hard. And I never knew that until a bunch of years later when I talked to them. And they all had arrangements with my mom to push me really, really hard to be the best that I could be. And now I play in a Def Leppard tribute band, so I made it.
I will also add that a lot of that talent has gone to his son, who plays not only drums just as good as Hugo, in my opinion, but also plays guitar and bass as well.
Oh, he's light years ahead of where he's 22 years old, my son Nick, and he's light years ahead of where I was when I was 22. You know, just everything that could possibly be handed to somebody as far as music is concerned. I mean, he just grabbed it and just ran with it, and he's doing great. He's doing really good. He's a driving force behind all the bands that he plays in, and he does a lot of heavy stuff and death metal and all that, and it's mind-boggling the stuff that the kids can pull off these days. You know,
So-
like we learned to play our instruments listening to this music, so we're really good at it. These kids all learned listening to this high energy stuff that goes a million miles an hour, and they play 1,000 notes per second and nail it with such precision. And it's inherent. It's what they do and how they learn, and it blows me away. I can't even wrap my head around what some of these kids, how they play, what they play, and how they do it. It's just watching them is just mesmerizing. So it's really cool to see, and it's really cool to watch it all develop and see where he goes with it. You know, I'm really proud of him. So I can't say enough about it. It's some crazy stuff, but it's really, really cool.
So he's 22 years old. You've been playing drums for a long time. Did he want to play drums first, or did he want to play something else first?
Actually, no. When I first put drumsticks in his hands, I gave him, like I got a practice pad and a pair of drumsticks, and he didn't want nothing to do with it. He wanted nothing to do with it. And then I started making him come to my gigs with me and helping me set up and tear down and, give him a feel for what everything else entailed as far as music and all that. And then he really got into it. Same thing with baseball. He didn't want to play baseball, didn't want anything to do with it until he watched The Sandlot. As soon as he watched The Sandlot, it was all about baseball. So you just gotta point him in the right direction.
So where did you guys get your influences from? And Joe, before I go into your question, I got a question that is kind of weird to ask you, but I'm going to ask you because I've known you for quite some time. But some people call you Joe, some people call you Jose. Which is it, man?
My real name is Jose, obviously, but everybody calls me Joe for the most part. That's just what everybody calls me.
What do you prefer?
I prefer Joe.
All right. Well, I'm going to call you Joe.
All right. Thank
I'm
you.
gonna call
As
you
I have for all these years, Jose. So where did you get your influences from?
Me?
Yeah.
Oh, geez. I got my influences younger when I was about 13 years old. One of my buddies borrowed me an Yngwie Malmsteen Rising Force cassette that I just could not put down, and I never looked back, man. That just opened it all up for me, and I loved it ever since. That's all I wanted.
And are you self-taught, or are you a lesson learner?
I did lessons for about a half a year when I was younger, right around 13, and I grew up in a poor family. My dad was always working. It was hard for me to get rides back and forth to lessons because it was all the way in Crystal Lake at the players bench, and so I ended up stopping. But then I just kept going with it and basically taught myself. And it's having a good ear really takes you pretty far as a musician, and you really have to have that. And then I there was a point where I started teaching myself theory, and because you can only go so far if you don't know theory, and I started just going that route, and whether it's right or not, I have no idea, but it's gotten me this far, and I'm in a Def Leppard tribute band, so hey.
And how long have you been playing?
I've been playing 30 years, 30
Wow.
plus years, 33 years.
That's great. So when you guys all started playing whatever instruments you play, did you ever think to yourself, wow, when I'm 20, I'm going to be here. When I'm 30, I'm going to be here. When I'm 35, because none of you guys are older than 35, right?
No,
Oh,
no,
no,
none of us.
no,
No.
Close.
You know what I said when I was, it's a funny story, but I saw Def Leppard when I was young, and they looked only a couple years older than me. They looked like little kids up there playing on the High and Dry tour, and I was just blown away by them. And seriously, I mean, you know, who would have thought I'd end up in a Def Leppard tribute band? But that was the band that I came home and told my dad, I know what I'm going to do. You know, I mean, I'd already been playing music at this point, but I said, this is what I'm going to do. I saw this band, I could do that. And I always had a goal. I wanted to be on MTV before I was 21. You know, and we grew up in that era where MTV was everything. You come home and back when MTV played music videos and everything, and that was making it, you know. And I didn't get on MTV till I was 22, but I did get on there, and it was that was always kind of a goal I had, and it was so many bands in that MTV era just influenced me and wanted, and you realize it wasn't just how good you played, that you had to make it look good too to the audience. You were entertaining, and that
for sure.
That was just as important as writing a good song and playing the bass line right, or singing the background vocal right. You know, I mean, I didn't even want to play bass. I wanted to be a singer, but I just couldn't. I didn't have the range. I could sing a song or two, and then I was out of gas and I couldn't do anymore. And I quickly realized when I heard myself on tape that, okay, I can get somebody that sounds a lot better than this, because this, we don't all have what C-Bob has, or these great singers. And
yeah, I got you.
Yeah, you do.
But I just wanted to write good songs. And I played in a cover band when I was 14, and by the time I was 16, I was done playing in cover bands. I played all originals, and then I took a long time off playing live. I just did studio work. I just wrote songs and produced songs. And Len and Jeff and some other people in Friction reached out to me and said, hey, we need a bass player. And it kind of brought me back into it. I was off 14 years. I didn't play in a band. I didn't play a live show for 14 years. And I joined Friction back in 2009.
I think probably about that, yeah.
And it's just been a blast. And I mean, we still write a couple originals here and there, and then awesome. Then we put together a Rock Brigade, and it's just been so much fun. And
it just kind of fit with today with what you're doing, right?
It did. And you know what I love about this whole Chicago scene is that, for the most part, the bands look out for one another. The bands are good to one another. They, I'm at shows and people ask me to come up and play a song with them, or somebody shows up at one of our shows and we ask them to come up. It's just, there's so much camaraderie there. And not only that, but the venues, there are so many good people in this scene that have these killer venues that people love to go to, and I'm not just talking about the bands. I'm talking about the fans out there that just love music, and how cool it is that everybody looks out for one another. It's just a great feeling. I'm just so happy to be part of this, because I'm not from Chicago. I'm from Pittsburgh, and it's just been so cool.
We all know you're a Steelers fan, man. Back off a little bit. Back off. Hey, I do have one question for you though. That since you're starting a new job, Chris has got the hair, Marty's got the hair. Are you going to bring back the hair from your earlier days? Because I've seen some photos, man.
No, man, no. Listen, I just got a cut. A good friend came over. She wanted to see the puppy, and I said, I traded puppy time for a haircut. And
That sounds fair.
listen, I wore a mask, and we were as careful as could be, and she got to play with the puppy, and I got a haircut. But I'll tell you, after whatever it was,
Looks like she was doing it at the same time.
7 weeks or whatever, I couldn't take it down on my neck. I was just like, I was going,
Whatever.
oh, you know what? And you guys have to understand something. My hair grows out this way, and it takes, I have to get it about 12 inches long before it finally pulls down. So I have the longest awkward phase. All my Jewish friends used to tell me I had a big Jew fro.
C-Bob, you got to do me a favor. You have to find one of his old photos. Oh, there you go, man. There you
That's
go.
me. That's when I cut my hair like again.
Wow, you
Please
sported
do.
a mullet. Nice.
Yep. I will
Who
find a
didn't?
picture. You know what? Give me a few minutes. I'll find it on Facebook and I'll show an old picture of Bill.
Perfect. We're gonna go to one of those venues real quick here and show a video that you guys have on your Facebook page, Rock Brigade. So take a few minutes. You can find that if you guys want to take just a second and grab a drink or do whatever. I'm gonna share a screen and play this song. One of my favorites for obvious reasons. And I appreciate you guys having us out at House of Blues. So let's do this real quick.
There you go, Joe.
I don't have a cool guitar pick to put in front of the camera, so here's my dog.
I'm gonna go get Clark.
Which song?
Photograph.
Photograph.
Okay. Oh, yeah, there you go.
Is that before Bill lost his pants?
We don't have any audio, just so you know. The video is playing on Facebook.
Oh, there's no audio?
No audio.
Not for
Yeah.
us.
I'm actually on it here. There's no audio.
That's interesting. I don't know why it doesn't show that, but we can talk about this. So this is your video from House of Blues, and this was a recent show, and the crowd was amazing that night. You guys remember that crowd?
Yes.
Oh my
Oh, yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah.
It was our first show at House of Blues.
My first show with Rock Brigade.
Yeah, exactly.
It was the first show with Rock Brigade, and literally, this is no BS. We had 2 rehearsals with Chris and Pete before this show. That was it.
Yep.
And we didn't know what to expect. I mean, we were literally like, oh my God, if there's only a couple hundred people there, we still have to give them everything we have. At the first band went on, and I think it was Diver Down. Marty played with Diver Down that night. And the one of the managers there came up to me or I came up to him, whatever happened. And he said, yeah, we're trying to get more people, more employees in because we weren't expecting a big crowd tonight. We got to open the upstairs bar. There's already 800 people in here. And this is while the first band's on. And by the end of the night, there was almost 1,200 people, 1,187 or something was the final count, which is like a sellout there. 1,200 people is like a sellout. So it blew us away. We just couldn't believe the response. All the bands were great. I mean, it wasn't just us. It was all 4 bands. Dr. Feelgood was there. Diver Down.
Love Drive.
Love Drive.
Love Drive. That's right.
And then it was us headlining, which was pretty surprising for your first time in House of Blues to get to headline a show like that, but it was incredible.
Right.
And Chris and Pete kicked ass. It just blew us away that night. And fortunately we were smart enough to record and film the show.
Yeah.
We were only around for 8 months at that time.
Yeah.
Our first show.
Right.
We played 5 shows. That was it. 5 shows.
Yeah.
5 shows before you played the House of Blues, and you guys kicked ass at House of Blues. It was great.
Thank you.
I remember being up in the green room with you guys, and you seem to be very trying to figure out how to go up on stage and do that initial band practice in your head, what's going to happen. And then all of a sudden you guys just got it together and you're like, boom, as a unit, just one thing. And you went down on the elevator, went out on stage. What was it like to walk out on that stage and just be at House of Blues?
I was nervous as hell, honestly, God. I was, because not only, I mean, I've been on that stage with other bands before, but this was something that I grew up with and I wanted to do it justice. I didn't know how it was gonna come up and how I would do and how we would gel on stage. First time playing, especially in front of that big of a crowd for us. And yeah, I was, you didn't see it, but I was shaking in my boots a little bit. So
I think we all were a little bit, you know. It was there was a lot of uncertainty, you know. Like Bill was saying, we only had 2 rehearsals, and but the professionalism of everybody that's in this band, and Chris and Pete, we really didn't need to be, you know. But I think you have it no matter what. I think if you don't have it, there's something wrong, you know. But yeah, but it definitely came together, and it turned out to be a great show for sure.
right. So kudos to Pete with that. And I do want to say kudos to Hugo for, he had to step down for things. So thank you, Pete. And we got one of my brothers on the drums, and Hugo, and when he slipped in, and he's just effortless when he plays too. So
Mr. Durbin, yeah.
Hugo
Good job.
and Pete.
thank you, Hugo.
So, and that does bring up, you know, the question, do you guys, obviously you like Def Leppard, obviously.
I had the
But
haircut.
is that
I showed
something,
you.
is that something that you like when you were growing up, or you were becoming the musician you are? Is that something that you looked at and went, man, I wish I could play like them, or I wish I could be on stage like them? And how do you feel about doing that as a tribute band now?
Without a doubt. I mean, one of the first LPs, one of the first actual albums that I had was Pyromania. It was
Absolutely.
I had Pyromania, Quiet Riot, Mental Health, Frankie Benali, Love You Man, Hope You Get Better. And I had Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry, and I had those 3 albums on rotation on my mom's turntable, and I would just sit in front of it and air drum all these tunes because I didn't have drums yet. And now to be able to actually play them live, it's like, okay, why did I sit there and learn all these songs and just bury them into my head the way I did? And then Friday Night Videos helped out, and then MTV helped out, and then Headbangers Ball helped out, and all this music just got jammed into my head that, like I said before, that's the music that we learned our instrument on. So it just kind of came full circle when I got to play, you know, this music that I grew up listening to and watched on TV and wished and hoped and prayed that one day I could be doing. And it's just really cool. Like all the other tribute bands that I've played for and filled in for, it's all bands that I love. You know, like I have my Rat band, I've filled in for the Iron Maiden band, I've played with the Metallica guys, I played with all these bands, but it's all bands that I absolutely love. So it was kind of like the Queensryche band. It was all just tunes that were already in my head. You know, it was very little learning curve for me to actually apply these songs to my drum set to play them out live because I already knew them in my head for so long.
Right.
You know, so it's a really cool experience to go out there and yeah, you can be sick of playing Pour Some Sugar on Me until you're playing it in front of, you know, 1,500 people that are singing it back to you, and then you're like, okay, I get it now. You know,
Right.
like I used to be with We're Not Going to Take It. You know,
Yeah.
couldn't stand the tune. Then I met Dee Snider, and I'm like, dude, I love you to death, but man, We're Not Going to Take It. Woo, that tune, I can't. And he's like, hey, it paid for okay. So, you know, it's just really cool for it to come full circle and be able to do these tunes. And our demographic is great because it's the people that we grew up with listening to these tunes with.
Right.
You know,
right.
so it's just really cool. It's a really cool experience to be up there doing it, especially with this type of music, because this stuff will never go away. No one's going to remember Justin Bieber tunes in 20 years. Everyone is going to remember Def Leppard tunes 20 years from now.
Well,
Yeah, for sure.
And
For sure.
I want to add one thing to you there, Jim. You know, Def Leppard isn't, you know, Joe brought up that he started playing guitar to Yngwie Malmsteen. Hugo
I couldn't play that, but that's what wanted me. That's what I wanted to.
There's too many notes.
Def Leppard isn't considered to be one of the most difficult bands to necessarily play their music, but I will say this: they have some of the greatest production that's ever been done, and some of the best songs that have ever been written for that type in that genre of music. And they are so, I don't want to say hard to pull off live, but there aren't a lot of bands that do a lot of Def Leppard because it's hard to get that sound. It's not necessarily that the bass line's hard or the drum line's hard, but the two guitars do so much, and there's so much production in there. And thank God all these guys can sing because their background vocals are just incredible. And then there's Joe Elliott's voice that a lot of people have trouble doing it, and Chris sings it like it's effortless. And you know, it's just so cool to do. And you know, and we don't use any tracks. You know, we don't, you know, and nothing wrong. There's a lot of great bands out here that do, but we don't use any tracks. And
No.
we play to a click track just because we like to keep things closer in tempo. We want to make sure the groove there. And when we don't play with a click, sometimes our adrenaline takes over and we start playing things a little faster than we want to. And like Hugo said, the coolest thing about this is when you see that many people singing back every word. We played a sold-out show in Pittsburgh in November, and unfortunately Hugo and Chris weren't there for that one, but the 400 people that were there, even when we played the deep cuts like
Mirror.
and they sang
Saturday night.
every single word back to us. It was incredible. And shout out to Pittsburgh and all those rock and roll fans.
Yep.
And by the way, that's an old Bill.
Oh, Bill, man, you got to bring the hair back, buddy. You got
The old Pittsburgh Bill right there.
Old Pittsburgh Bill.
Hey, Joe, just so you know, mine was Phil Keggy. And
Oh,
unfortunately, I couldn't play anything like any musician, so I picked up a camera.
there you go.
There's my world.
But here's the thing, Jim, is you capture
I want to
you
give Jim a
capture
shout-out.
what we feel on stage.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You know, all the pictures that I've seen you taking, like the pictures that you've taken of me and stuff like that, there's not that many people that can capture like how we actually feel, what we feel when we're doing it on stage. And you are very rare that you've captured that on more than one occasion with all of us. And I applaud you for that. I love that you have the eye that you do, because you really
You get it.
you make it look like we know what we're doing.
Right.
Just look
Thank you for that.
Like, wow, look at that guy. He can really play. See that? That looks really cool. And you know, it's just you can capture in one picture how I feel my whole life about playing music, and I appreciate that about you. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Man,
Let's not forget about Becky either, because Becky
Yes.
does the same thing. She's just as talented with the camera.
She is definitely
Becky, I
amazing.
just see a little square. I just see a little black square that says Becky Obos on it. So I don't know. I see right now.
I appreciate that. You know, for me, when I get in front of bands and especially a band like you guys are so energetic. You're so with the crowd and with the fans. The thing that, you know, what Becky and I love to do is just capture the moment of how that fan and how you guys connect. And as much as we are in the crowd or, you know, in front of the stage, it really is about how you and the fan get connected and brought together.
Well, that's what drives us. As we mentioned, Hugo and Bill mentioned it before. First of all, we don't think I mentioned this on stage. I mentioned this in my last interview with you in Hunt. We don't think we're the band. We enjoy, we're celebrating the music. And it's maybe us on stage performing it, but we're singing it along with the crowd. The crowd sings it to us. We're singing it with them. So when we stop and I point out to the audience to sing and they shout back and blow my hair back with it, and Marty's, but it's what we're in a synergistic moment together. So it's not about us performing to the audience. It's the audience performing back and enjoying that.
Absolutely.
As a unit. And that's the whole reason why I do it. And I'll say for this for everyone on this call, why we're doing it.
Yeah, for sure. No, I see that. And Yeah,
But-
I feel that whenever I'm with you guys. And Len, you know, when
Yes.
you are behind a keyboard and then you do some vocals of yourself, how do you, when you look out and you're playing your keyboard, you know, I look at you and I watch you, you watch the crowd totally. I don't think I've ever seen you look down at your keyboard and play. I think you're always like looking out, or you're looking at the other guys in the band. What are you thinking when you're up there, other than the music?
What song are we playing? No, 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 actually, yeah, you know, for me, and you know, Chris just mentioned it. For me, music. I mean, it's important for me not to just have fun playing, and you know, playing with these guys is a lot of fun. But for me, it really makes a difference when I see the crowd out there having a good time, singing along, and really just enjoying themselves. That's what really makes it special for me. That's why I play. That's why I'm out there. Yeah, sometimes I get a little involved in some of the songs where I might not be looking as much at the crowd, but I always try to give my best performance as often as possible, and especially if I have to go out there and sing a song too. So.
Great. Yeah,
Which
I'm gonna,
Friction.
yeah, oh,
Yeah.
for sure. I'm gonna read some names off here. People that are with us. Kim's on, Natalia's on, Melissa's on, Diana's on, Carrie's on, Rick, Susan, the Dancing Queen, Jennifer Cundiff's on, Lisa, Mike Dermont's watching.
Mike Dermont.
Yeah.
My
Ron
God.
Davis, Ron all the way from Florida is watching.
Hey,
So
Ron.
thank you guys for being here. Appreciate that.
What's up,
Hey,
everybody?
Marty,
Florida.
here's a
God's
question.
waiting room.
Here's a question that come in from the fans. Where and how many times do you think you're going to wear your sexy velvet suit on stage this year?
Was it
That
tour?
wasn't me.
Who's the for?
Who's got a sexy velvet suit?
Yeah,
I haven't
Marty.
seen it.
Marty has a sexy velvet suit.
Oh,
Is
no,
it-
that's
is it
the one I
crushed?
wore for the quarantine video. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh.
I mean, that suit's pretty amazing, man.
Look
First
like,
time I
like
ever wore it.
velour.
First
It's like
time I
the
ever wore it.
inside of a Cadillac Brougham.
He needed with some dingle balls.
All right. Marty just brought up the quarantine video. So I just got to give him props. He absolutely stole the show. Okay. And I just got to tell you,
My family did.
he knocked it out of the ballpark, and everybody did a great job on it. You guys killed it. We wanted to keep it fun and light, and Chris convinced me, because that wasn't my original idea. Was no, we just play and just sit in front of our computer and play. And Chris was like, no, dude, we got to have fun with this. So Chris gets all the credit for that. But once we went that direction, and Mark just absolutely knocked it out of the ballpark, and his girls and his wife, it was an Academy Award winning performance.
Marty, I love when you hit the light, man. When you hit the light, that was great.
Oh, that's every Tuesday.
Yeah.
He was guitar pick inside his daughter's cereal. That was my best. That was the best.
Yeah.
Hey, Bill.
I think I threw out 6 picks that night. That was fun.
That's
Oh, I have a question about picks, by the way. I'll get back
God.
to that in a second. Hey, Bill.
Yeah.
And make this quick, man. Just like 30 seconds or less. What is your undercover name?
Uh-oh.
What?
Bill.
Well, I don't know. There's been a new one that has come up in the last like 4 weeks. So it's Sil Bovert, right? Is that the correct one?
Kill Bobert.
Kill Bovert.
Bill Bovert.
Do you have more than one undercover name?
I don't know, but that's the only one that I can think of at the moment.
Chris, what's his undercover name?
Sil Bovert.
Kill Bovert.
He said he was going to go somewhere incognito. I'm like, and the joke was, what are you going to call yourself? Sil Bovert? And then Sil Bovert.
I cannot wait for you guys to be on stage.
All right, I'm standing up now. See,
No.
The crowd is just going to call that back to Bill when he's up on stage. That'll be great. Oh my God. So, Joe, how many guitars do you have?
Oh,
Let's talk gear.
I think I have like 20, 25.
That's
Do you
it?
play it? Do you play them all, or are they?
I
Are they
try.
hanging?
I try to touch them every once in a while. You know, give them each a little bit of love. I try to give them a little love. I try to give them a little love.
Nice.
So I have to ask.
You know what? I'm
Joe-
not gonna lie. It's all about the mood, man. Like each guitar makes you play differently. You know what I mean? So it's you know, if I want to play bluesy, I'll pick up a Strat or something, or my Les Paul.
Nice.
If I want to play metal, I got some metal guitars. You know, it's like they all make you feel different when you play. You know, they all give you a little something, something.
Oh, that's great. I don't think I've ever heard that explanation of a guitar before.
No, that's absolutely true.
That's awesome.
They're like purses
They're like purses and shoes.
and shoes. Yeah.
Has to go with the outfit.
Hey, Joe,
Yes.
can you share with us, and I know you guys have had some stage antics go on, not only with this band, but maybe some other previous bands, but you know what, have you ever had any problems on stage? You have any issues on stage, like falling off a stage, or I don't know, breaking a finger or something?
I actually I broke this finger, this pinky, my guitar, my fret hand. It was a Friction show. We were playing at Side Outs. It was we just got done doing sound check, and some guy was asking me about my gear. So I went to step off the stage to talk to him because, you know, hey, you know, he's interested in my stuff. So I'm gonna go talk to him. And I slipped and I went to catch myself and I jammed my pinky into the stage. And I thought I just kind of jammed it. And then we played 3 hours, and the whole time was like, this isn't right, man. It's like it was like a little noodle. And the next day I went to get x-rays and it was broken. So I played 3 hours with a broken pinky.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
You know what?
rock and roll.
He's giving
that too.
He's giving you the G-rated version of this. He showed Len and I the finger at the first set. Okay, it was like
It was purple.
fucking balloon. It was purple and the size of a balloon. And I'm watching him. I'm over there playing, doing a Hotel California. He's doing the guitar solo. I have no idea how he's doing the stretch on the arpeggio, but he's doing it with 3 fingers. His pinky's not working. He's doing. I'm like, how the fuck are you doing that? And I shouldn't have, but I remember that like yesterday.
Yeah.
And let me add this: because he broke his finger that night, that was the first time that I got to play with Marty Craven.
Oh yeah, because Marty Craven
Right.
filled in for me when I
Marty
had a broken
filled
finger.
in for Joe at
Oh,
Bannerman's.
Bannerman's, yeah.
Oh,
That was
wow,
awesome.
that's right. I
And
heard
Dan
about
Hope.
that.
Oh, Bannerman's.
And Dan Volpe.
Yes.
yeah.
Volpe, yeah.
Dan Volt filled in on a couple shows.
Yep.
Yes.
So
Wow.
really quick, we're getting down to the wire here. What prompted this amazing artistry, you guys on this screen in front of me right now? What prompted you guys to put this band together and have Rock Brigade? Seriously.
I'm,
Bill,
can I
Bill
say
and I
this?
talked about this, but yeah, Bill and Jose, go ahead.
Bill had already talked to, okay, because the original lineup was Carrie and Robert from Lava Rock, and Bill and myself and Len, and he and Marty. And when Bill asked me if I was interested in doing this, and he told me the musicians that were interested in it, it was like a no-brainer. You know, it's like Marty's one of the best guitar players in Chicagoland, and he influences me, and he had me at
You're
Hello,
up there, man.
Second that.
and you know, and just the caliber of musicians and their personalities too, because there's no clash. I mean, nobody has an attitude, nobody has an ego, and it was just a no-brainer for me. You know, it's like I did grow up on Def Leppard, and are they my favorite band? No, but to play that music with these guys, it was just a no-brainer, and it was a done deal.
Oh yeah.
So Bill and Carrie got the whole idea for it, really, in all honesty.
Carrie and I took a trip out with our wives on my boat, and we just had a few adult beverages, and we're sitting there talking, and we're like, man, we haven't played in a band together. All these tribute bands are starting to make really big money. We should do a tribute band. And that's really how the conversation started. And we started naming what bands are out there that are, you can't do a Led Zeppelin tribute band right now because there's already a bunch. Carrie does that with Lava. You can't do, AC/DC has a bunch. So we tried to pick out, and we said, what about Def Leppard? He's like, oh, well, we'd have to get 2 really good guitar players. And I said, well, let me call Joe and Marty. And that's kind of how it happened. Robert wasn't even involved in the decision making. Carrie said, "Yeah, Robert's in."
Nice.
What?
And let me add this, because some people have said, well, Def Leppard doesn't really have a keyboard player. Well, they don't live. They don't necessarily do a keyboard player live, but they do a lot of keyboards on the records.
Yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
what Len brings to this band, with whether it's Friction or it's Rock Brigade, is he sings those high harmonies like it was nothing. The kid could sing the phone book and it would sound beautiful. His ear is impeccable, and
Incredible talent.
the harmonies are just incredible. So and
it's because of Len. Len is the reason why we don't have to use tracks, because he reproduces all those keyboard samples and everything that they used, in production in the recording studio. So Len is actually a big key when it comes to that.
Awesome sound. Yeah.
And then and what happened is actually Carrie got busier with Lava. And so he and Robert went to that. Then I got a phone call from Bill basically saying, hey, you think you can sing Def Leppard? Yeah. I showed you guys earlier.
Oh, hold on. Time out. That's sounding just like Bill. Do you do any other impressions?
Bill? I could do one of Matt Rhodes. Hello. Okay.
Hold on. I don't know how much time we have, Chris, but we got to tell the story. All right.
Tell it.
So listen, I call up Chris. I show up at the eye doctor. I'm having some serious problems. Okay. No, this is serious though. I had a detached retina. I didn't know it, and I showed up at my eye doctor. And this is the night before we have 2 shows. Okay, this is a Thursday. I have 2 shows, big shows, Friday and Saturday, and one is at the Broken Oar, one is at Sundance Saloon, and my eye doctor says, you have a detached retina. You need emergency eye surgery immediately. I said,
Remember that.
I said, can we do it Monday? Because I have 2 shows this weekend. You want to be blind. And he goes, because that's what could happen if you do not go have surgery right away. So I call Chris and I asked Chris for Jet's phone number.
That's right. So I get a phone call from Bill, and it's basically saying, hey, I got a problem. I got 2 shows this weekend, and I need a bass player. Do you have Jet's number? I'm like, yes, I've been playing for 30 years. Oh, you can play this? Yes, I'll play. And I was actually scheduled to rehearse or kind of sit in on their practice, just so I could
vocals for the House of Blues show.
Right. And so I basically learned all the bass stuff that night. Yep. That he told me the day before practice. Practicing once. No, right. That day I just came to practice.
Right.
And then I stayed home all the next day, and they did the show Friday with Gary and Robert. And then
Thursday night, and we had you had the show Friday night.
Right. So we did that, and then I was talking to Carrie that show, and he says, I can't do this that often. You think you can do this? I'm like, yeah, I can do this. And then that's why I got the call from Bill afterwards. And then the first show was at House of Blues, and here.
That's awesome.
Pete Pete Durbin stepped in, and he had too many things going on. He stepped down because he had his Atlantis project and his I'm forgetting a lot of them right now. But then I called Hugo, and I'm like, Hugo, you know this, you're in this band. He's like, and that's where we're at today.
That's
and
awesome.
This lineup has also become Friction too. So we're looking.
Yeah, no, that's great. I love that. So Hugo, when a couple of the other guys were talking, you were making a little bit of faces about band attitudes or stuff like that. I'm going to say I don't ever know any of you guys to have any kind of attitude, but you do have antics, and your drum antics are like the top of the line drum antics out there. What makes you, what gives you that thought process to do some of the things you do on stage with your drums?
I'm purely trying to entertain myself. I'm purely trying to entertain myself above everything else. When I was playing in this other band for a long time, I just started to hone in my let's screw around on stage and see how much I can actually get away with while I'm still trying to perform these songs correctly. So I think we were playing in we were in Scottsdale, Arizona or something like that. And I got dared by the sound guys to put a can of beer on my head while I was playing. And I'm like, all right, let's try it. So put it up there and started playing. I'm like, all right, cool. It didn't fall off. So then I just kind of went on from there, and the throwing stuff up in the air. And I used to throw sticks at people and get them thrown back at me. And I just try to entertain myself and try and make it fun, because I mean, it's hard to be back there with the amount of talent that's up in front of me, with especially with these guys. It's hard to get noticed. So I do everything that I can to make sure that I get noticed, because I mean, when I walk up there, I'm sharing the stage with them, but it's my stage.
Right.
They can have a little piece of it, but
I have a tip for the audience. If you ever want to really get entertained, watch Hugo and Len during our show.
For sure. For sure.
It is absolutely hilarious. They have all this stuff going on between them.
Oh yeah.
During the show. It's just unbelievable.
Yeah, I never had anybody back there with me to share my antics with, and now I have some fun. I'm actually going to set up a little percussion station for him off to the side of my drum set, so we can do some cool drum stuff. And I don't know, maybe I'll play chopsticks on the keyboards, and he can come play drums on it or something.
Yeah.
Awesome. So we don't have a set time, so we can go as long as we want to go until you guys tell me to stop. So just so you know, there's no set time. But I gotta ask, do you guys feel famous? Is there any moments that make you feel famous?
I have a story for that, and my sister who's watching is going to love that I tell this story. When I was growing up, my sister's a year younger than me, and growing up, I was a bit of a nerd. I was a bit of a nerd. I just have longer hair. But my freshman year of high school, I was known as Chris Bobrowski. My sophomore year, up until I was 30-ish, I was Corinne's older brother. She came and crashed my high school reunion. All right, so she graduated a year after me, but crashed mine. People knew her more than that. I was in a band with Hugo, and we're playing a place in Chicago, and I happened to go to a Crate and Barrel with her or something like that the day before. And we're there, and the girl that my sister's shopping for some stools or something, and the girl that's helping us is like, my sister's talking to her, but she's not looking at my sister at all. She's looking at me. He's like, and my sister's like, do you have this in black? She goes, hold on, Becky, Chris is here. And this other girl comes up, and this came to our shows in Hairbangers Ball back in the day. And I finally got a chance to look at my sister and say, now you know how it felt for 15 effing years, sister. But as far as, I mean, joking aside, I mean, we're people just like everybody else. I mean, yeah, there's always a little bit of an ego with the music, but I don't think I'm better than anybody else. I don't think, and I think I speak for everyone on this. We don't think we're better than everyone else. We don't think that we learned everything we have to. The moment, I said this before last time, the moment you stop learning or feeling that the moment you feel you've learned it all, you're not going to grow. You're just kind of closed-minded. That goes with ego too. So I don't think that we're famous. We may know a bunch of people. My wife may contest that, but we may know people, but we just see this as other friends in the industry and fans that share our love for music.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Not at all. I'm not even the best bass player in this band. So that's, I mean, it's just about.
Whoa.
You're
cutting out, Bill.
With these guys.
Bill, you're cutting out.
Uh-oh.
Bill, you're
I
cutting out.
absolutely love playing with these guys. And I do want to, before, because I don't know when this is going to end, but I want to throw a shout out to Jim. And let's just point to Jim.
Yeah.
Hey, Jim, I have watched a ton of these that you have been hosting, and we all knew what an incredible photographer you are. I mean, just look at my cover photos and my profile photos. 99% of them are Jim Obos photos.
Yep. All
Same.
Jobos.
Right? And
Everybody loves you.
but I will tell you, dude, you are so incredible at this. Like, you should be a fucking host on late night TV. I mean, you're so good at this. This is just another side of you that I didn't even know. And I just want to thank you for, getting us involved, but getting all the bands involved, because listen, Rock Brigade, we're a fun band, but I mean, what have we played? 15 shows, maybe? I mean, it's, you have bands like Seventh Heaven and 16 Candles and that are like, they're celebrities. I mean, they're, and
But Bill, the reality is you're going to be on the Huntley Fall Fest stage on September 25th. So,
right.
I mean, we got
Modern Day
this
Romeo.
fun stuff to look forward with Modern Day Romeos. You got to look forward to this.
Absolutely.
Stuff,
And we love it. And we feel honored and privileged to be able to do that. But it's just so cool to be part of this community. And
I agree.
It's all the bands that have made this scene so great and have made we have such great music fans in this town. It's incredible. It really is.
I agree. Thank you, Bill. I appreciate that. Marty, I understand you have a story that you'd like to tell tonight about being famous.
Oh, the Florida one?
TAMFC.
Okay, I was in Florida, and in January, right before we went to Disney World, and it was on my last day. We were at this restaurant, and I went with my wife's family, and I come walking in. I had my sunglasses on, and come walking in, and it was like a convention going on, and like a table was looking at us, walking in, and they kept looking at me, and then they do one of those. So, and so I didn't really think much of it. I'm like, well, you get it with long hair because nobody's got long hair anymore. So, so we go sit down to dinner. And we're like about 15 minutes into it, and all of a sudden, this guy and girl, they're probably in their 30s, they come walking up to the table, and they go, "We didn't mean to interrupt you or anything like that." And I just looked at them, and they go, "We just wanted to know we're really big fans. We're really big fans." And I'm like, really? And I didn't say anything at the time, so I looked away, and they go, "Oh, we didn't mean to bother you. We didn't mean to bother you, but we're really huge Def Leppard fans. We just wanted to say we really love Def Leppard like that." And I go, "Oh, that's all right." And then so,
She's Australian. That's nice.
On the barbie.
so I played it out, So and I just shook their hands, and they all kind of giddy, and it's funny. It's like, "Great, thank you very much, and and I just nodded off, and then my brother-in-law just looked at me and he goes, "Do you get this all the time?" I'm like, "Yeah, somewhat," and my daughter was just laughing like crazy, and my wife is smiling and she goes, and he goes, "Does he really get this all the time?" And she goes, "Yeah." So it was just kind of funny. So, so
That's
somebody
great.
out there right now thinks that they saw, somebody from Def Leppard.
They thought
Who would it have been?
That is a great story, man. I love
Steve
that
Clark.
story.
He's dead.
The interesting part to that is my question wasn't in lead to that story. It was actually about your two daughters that think you're the best daddy rock star ever.
Oh, that's nice.
But we thank you for that story. That's a great story, man.
That was the last one I had. It was fun. It was
No,
really fun.
that is the story. I'm joking with you. But I understand that you do play your guitar a lot when they're watching their shows on, you're sitting on the couch and They
Yeah.
just think that your guitar playing is part of the show they're watching on TV, huh?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's awesome.
So Jim, when you do end up with a late night show, Jim, can we be your band?
Hell yeah, man.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be great.
But your
I love
moniker
that.
has to be Jobos now.
Jobos.
It's the Jobo Show.
The Jobo Show.
Hey, Jim, can I add one story to segue from Marty's? So
Sure.
in 1988, on the Hysteria tour, I was, my manager owned the Americana, which is now the Grand Geneva.
Wait,
And,
is this when you were in the band Raquel?
no, this is before Raquel.
Okay. Before
And,
Raquel. Okay.
but they managed Enough's Enough. They managed a lot of really good bands, and we happened to be up there at the Americana, and all the bands that would play Alpine Valley would stay at the Americana. And because my manager owned the hotel, I always had a room and got to party with a lot of them. And I got to party with Def Leppard, so that was like a big deal for me in 1988. And I was hanging out with the drummer and the bass player that night. And Rick Savage was complaining that he was at the airport at O'Hare when they had flown in, and all these girls ran up to him screaming and wanting his autograph, and they mistaked him for the singer of Europe. Marty got mistaken to be Rick Savage, and Rick Savage got mistaken to be the singer for Europe. So
There you go.
That's great.
Very nice.
Bill, one of your fans wants to know, have you ever driven over 100 miles an hour in a 1967 Mustang?
Who? You can't ask.
Bill.
You just got to answer the question.
Bill.
I have been, yes, I have.
Okay.
That's
It's
all
a-
I'm gonna say about
That's
it.
it?
I've been
It's
in
a funny story.
I have
Let me
been-
tell you.
7 Mustangs. All right, here's the story. So, on the way home from the Def Leppard Pyromania show, Ron Davis is driving,
Oh, boy.
Quisp.
okay, and we get on the highway. As we get on the highway, and I think it was a Camaro or a Trans Am or something. Some guy wants to race us, okay, and we start drag racing on the highway in Pittsburgh, and we come up over this bend, and there is a car with his hood up, parked in the middle of our lane on the highway, as we are neck and neck with this Camaro, Firebird, whatever it was, at 125 miles an hour. And I have no idea how Ron avoided. I just closed my eyes and put my hands up. I thought we were dead. And somehow Ron maneuvered and we got in front of the car and didn't hit the car, but I thought I was dead. I for sure, that was coming home from the Pyromania concert in 1984 in Pittsburgh.
But did you
And then
die?
someone mistook him for Rick Savage.
Hugo, how about you? Have you ever been looked at as, hey man, you're the drummer for who? In a famous way?
Yeah, I was on my way home from I played Austin's up in Libertyville a long time ago, and I was on my way home and I had a headlight out. I think I had either had a headlight out or I was speeding, and I got pulled over by some troopers, and they started fishing through my car, and they found a flask that I had lost from a Sox game that I had been at like 2 weeks prior, and they found my pocket knife. And they're like, well, you have open alcohol and you have weapons in your car. I'm like, what? So they were going to take me in. And there's a warrant out for my arrest for like $120 for some unpaid parking ticket from a long time ago. So they were going to take me in, and my buddy Sam was with me, and he's like, why don't you just take me to the ATM and I'll go get some cash and bond you out. So another trooper came, got him, and they went and they had me in the back of the car. And I'm sitting there waiting, and the trooper comes back with Sam and this cash, and the trooper looks into the back of the car. He goes, are you the drummer for Hairbang as well? I'm like, yeah, why? And he goes to the other guys like, we can't arrest this guy. I just saw these guys at Dirty Nelly's the other night, and these guys are fantastic. You got to let this guy go. So they gave me all my stuff back and just let me on my way.
Oh, wow.
It was crazy.
That's
Like,
cool.
that was the
Excellent.
first time I was like, wow, really? Really? For a cover band? Okay. So I got that dude's card. I'm still in contact with that trooper anyway. Yeah. Mike Ramirez. Cool guy, cool trooper guy who let me go.
Yeah,
and
you just got him in trouble. That was
didn't go to jail. He might not be a trooper anymore, whatever. That might not even be his name.
Is that how Sam got his nickname Bubbles?
No, that is not how Sam got his nickname. But you don't want to know how Sam got his nickname.
No,
Bubbles.
I don't. Little Bubbles.
Oh, Bubbles.
That's a
Bubbles is
great
having a little
story.
bubble. Congratulations, Bubbles.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Len, how about you? You had any famous guy stories?
Well, just back in the late '80s, I had longer curly hair, and
What?
a lot of times I'd walk around in my leather jacket with fringes on it and everything like that in the malls or whatever, and girls would come up to me thinking I was Bon Jovi at the time.
Oh my God.
That's all I'm gonna say for that. So,
I can totally see it.
You're like, sorry, girls, it's my life. Okay, I gotta go.
And it's slippery when it's wet.
Wow.
That's great. Joe, man, how about you? You have any famous stories?
I don't have any. I just get recognized for my local stuff. That's it. No.
That's pretty damn
no
famous.
big
I mean,
celebrity.
I've walked into the Broken Oar and I've heard people go, who the hell is this guy on stage? And it's amazing that, I go out to my car to get a drink of water or something that's in my car, and I come back in and I hear, who the hell is this on stage? And it's you playing. And it doesn't matter if you're playing Hotel California or whatever else you're playing. People are just mesmerized by what you do. So don't think you don't have any famous thing, man.
That's great, man. I love
It
that.
won't come up clear.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I recognized you back in the Nemesis Theory days, was your guitar playing, and I was too shy to come up and say hi. So now here we are. I'm looking at you off to the side here.
No, you know what? I've given a lot of shout outs to Marty tonight, but you know what? The two guitar players that we have in this band,
This guy's awesome.
just make our job, the rest of us, our job so much easier because they are the show. If you haven't seen a Rock Brigade show, come out and see us. Chris's vocals will blow you away, no doubt. But those two guitar players will melt faces. Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. So September 25th, come out and see these guys on the Huntley Fall Fest Facebook page. And they're sharing the stage with Modern Day Romeo. So no matter what time you get there, it's going to be a party all night long.
And a shout out to Bryant for having us. Thank you, Bryant.
Thank you very much. We're looking forward to it.
Looking
So
forward.
we are about
very
20, 22, 25 minutes over time. Anything you guys want to tell your fans real quick before we go?
Thank
Chris,
you for
we'll start with
supporting.
you.
We love your support.
Yep. I'll start out. I mean, thanks for the crew for helping us do this stuff. For Jason, for Ken, for Bill, for
Mark
all
Hughes.
everyone that's helped us. Deb with the t-shirts and everything else, and all of our significant others that helped put up with us into this. But also thank you to the fans for the support. Like I said, we're just a band that enjoys playing a celebration of this type of music. So if you guys enjoy it, I mean, we couldn't do what we do if it wasn't for people coming out and showing support. So I say thank you to them.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah,
That's great.
we don't just do it for us. We definitely don't just do it for us. We do it, we do it for everybody. We do it for the people that come to see us play. We do it for our families. We do it because we love doing it, and the reaction that we get from the crowd and the feed that we get from the crowd, especially when we're on stage, that's what fuels it. And we're bummed that we haven't been doing it, but we're excited to start doing it again. And it's going to be way better than it was before. So
Yep.
be careful because it's coming.
Yeah, We're hungry. We want it. We've been cooped up for too long, man.
Indeed,
Forward to
indeed.
this.
We need some rocking and rolling in our lives, that's for sure.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
That's
We're lucky
fantastic.
we're in this area that, you know, we can actually do this, and all of our fans, we all share, all the bands, we all share the same fans. And it's just, everybody loves the rock. They love to just come out and they just like us as personally. And so we give out an energetic show as much as we can, throwing out picks, drumsticks, smiles,
Dinner
and
dinner
hugs and
plates in the
everything.
case of Bill's picks. I mean, they're about that big.
They're like frisbees.
So
It's
I'm
killer.
glad Marty, I'm glad Marty brought up the picks and things like that. Marty, I understand you always have a pick in your pocket.
Always
Always.
at least 5 picks in my pocket. Always. Yeah.
Is that a
Why
pick
do
in your
you-
pocket? Are you happy to see us?
Why do you carry around picks in your pocket all the time?
I've always, they're like little mini business cards. I mean, even when I was in Disney World, I had like about 10 picks with me, and I would just put them on the railing. And these kids, and it's so funny because like when you're bored, you know, you put on a railing. Oh, this little kid picks it up. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't believe this. I got a guitar pick, and it's that guy up there, you know. And but like you said, you know, like when you're talking to somebody, it's like, hey, I'm in a band called Rock Brigade, and it's like, oh, really? Look, maybe I'll check you guys out, and I give them a guitar pick. At least they have something to hold on to, you know, to reference and go check out on Facebook and stuff like that. But and I've had kids, you know, that, you know, they talk to them and they're guitar players, and you give them a guitar pick and they love it. You know, that's the one that they use. You know,
do you think that like gives them inspiration to be a better musician at all when you do stuff like that? Is that one of your motives?
Yeah, in a way, it kind of influences them. I mean, it's not just like, hey, you got to use my pick, but it just gives them something. And it's just, like I said, it's just a great way of spreading the name around of the band, and it is, you know, kids love that stuff, little toys and stuff like that. And people in the crowd, they just go nuts. You know, you throw a pick out to them, and it's funny. It's like, you know, they're like about 5 people just looking on the ground for this guitar pick, you know, but it gives them something to hold on to. And
Maybe yours.
Yeah.
just as much as mine is Joe's, man. Just about.
Joe, it's the hair, man.
It is.
Joe, it's the hair. That's
Kids
fantastic.
do love free stuff. I've given away
Yeah,
many
they do.
pairs of drumsticks to little kids, and you know, I give them a pair of giving a little kid 1 drumstick is pointless. Give a little kid 2 drumsticks. Tell him and tell his parents, you know, go home and practice on a pillow. Start that way.
Yeah.
I've launched many a drum career that way. I always give dudes don't get sticks. Girls get sticks, and little kids get a pair.
Yeah.
That's
Nice.
awesome.
So I've launched hopefully I've launched many a drum career by giving away pairs of drumsticks to little kids left and right, and they just leave ecstatic. And you know, when I tell them to you know, play on a pillow so it doesn't drive your mom crazy, their moms are always like, you. So
Yeah, right.
I mean, whatever it takes, you know, whatever it takes to make more musicians, because that's what really counts.
I'll give a shout out to Marty Frankowitz. He was a kid that wanted to play drums. We gave him drumsticks of stuff, and then maybe about 10, 15 years later, I actually subbed for him in his band. And he's going to be this amazing drummer in the scene. So thank you, Marty, for coming to support. I'm glad we can help you, and glad you're just another one of the musicians here in Chicago that we'll also support.
You guys like playing a fest over a venue or a venue over a fest? And I asked that question to Hugo's point about reaching out to kids and giving them drumsticks. You can't do that at a venue. So is there a better place to play, or do you like it better one way or the other, or does it matter?
Let's just say it this way. We love the clubs that we play, and we love the over 21 shows. It's fantastic. But there is something really special about influencing the youth at a festival. It is there's just a little more magic there. That doesn't take away anything how we feel about the over 21 places we play. But there is something really special about the all ages shows and the festivals. I
Agreed.
Yeah.
Great.
I mean,
sometimes kids have never seen live bands before, and this is sometimes the first time they've ever seen a big band like that. And we're presenting music that their parents played for them when they were growing up, and they just take it all in. It's a beautiful thing.
Yep.
So
And we all have had, the parents in the band. My daughter got me to see me for the first time at a fest. Never, I mean, she's seen videos, but it's something magical about that. Fests are good for the environment or playing to bigger crowds. Venues are great because you have all the production and everything else like that. They're all great just to be able to perform. There's something to be said about both, but
Right.
again, for me and probably most of us, being able to help play for kids that can't normally see you play, or all ages shows or those types of things, that's inspiring for me.
Insane.
Oh,
That's awesome. You guys have put out quite a few promo videos and some new cute little videos. Those are great fun. I
Thanks to
think
Bill.
you guys are working on some more videos too. So get out to rockbrigade.com,
Mhm.
rokbrigade.com, and check these guys out. Hit their Facebook page up, like their Facebook page, send them any kind of notes. Here's one. Hold on now.
Uh-oh.
Oh, Marty, I'm sorry, we can't go yet. Marty, Marty,
Come
I
on.
just had one come in, so I gotta ask. So when you're on stage, and all you guys can think about this question, I could ask any one of you, and you're looking out into the crowd and you see the love of your life, right? Do you change the way you act? Do you change the way you sing? Marty, what's going through your mind when you're in your talk box and you're doing your vocals through that? You know, what are the things that go on in those kind of instances?
When I see the love of my life,
That's my best talk box impersonation.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah, wow,
I don't know how to really answer that one. I just
You don't have to answer that, actually.
you know, but no, I really, I love it because it's, God, you know, that's a tough one to answer, but I just, when I see her, it makes me feel great that I finally met her, you know.
Does it make you play better than you might have played without her in the crowd?
Somewhat in a way, yeah. You know, she knows all my, you know, all my pros and cons and everything about me, you know, but
Sure.
you know, I can look at her and just know that there's this inside jokes and everything. It's a beautiful thing to know somebody that, you know, that knows everything about you, you know.
Right.
You know, and also like when I see her, it's just like the first time I ever saw her, you know, that's always the best, you know. Yeah. But it
And
is.
see, Bob, when you're on stage and you're singing and you finally get a point where you have Jen in your eyesight, man, I see it in your face too. I see it. You call her over to the stage. You know, I love it.
That's when Bill's not standing in front of me or Marty's standing in front of me and trying to sing to her.
Yeah.
I'm going to dedicate this to my wife, Bill. What's his name?
But I sang it to her. I mean, I wasn't.
Yeah.
Bill.
Song that we sang to each other in high school. You sang to her. Thank you, Bill. No, we have our little things and eye contacts and stuff with our significant others. And it's always, they're in on the joke because they know all the stuff that we talk about these other brothers that we have.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And we pick on each other, but we love each other as well.
Yeah.
Oh, it shows. You guys hang out together. I've seen you pre-stage, behind stage kind of thing, and you guys are just spot on. You're professional. You're directed. You go after what you have to go after, but you're always having fun doing it, which is great. Chris, you know, just a few seconds ago, you talked about how, you know, you're ready to sing to Jen and you know, Bill or Marty come right in front of you. I just got to say, that's every drummer's nightmare right there. You know, I'm set up. I'm ready to take a drum shot. He's looking right at me. He's got the drumstick shoved up his
You
nose.
get this.
And I get a crotch shot of Chris Bobrowski right in front of my camera. Is that a
That's
plan?
been my life. That's been my life. Guitar headstock, cymbals in front of my face, other musicians, and It happens. I mean, whatever. If you really want to picture me, get up there and get close. But going back to having inside jokes, like me and the wife, me and Jen, we have all sorts of inside jokes, and we people watch from the stage. So if I see a train wreck walk in, I'll look at her and I'll be like, call the police. And we know that there's a train wreck just walking around somewhere inside there, and we're like, what is that? Oh, okay. So, and then, yeah, or that's a huge, never, yeah. But yeah, there's a lot of that. There's a lot of people watching that happens from the stage. And the cool thing about my job is that I just get to sit there and I watch everything.
All right.
I've seen everything. I've seen people meet, hook up, leave together. You know, it's cool to just sit there and just watch everything that happens, because I have the best seat in the house.
You know what?
And I get to look at all these guys' butts.
That's what I was just gonna say.
I've been staring at asses my whole career.
Hold up,
man.
hold up for one thing. So Jim's been asking all of us questions. It's time we ask Jim a question.
Oh, sure, go ahead.
Jim, what's the best wardrobe malfunction you've witnessed as a photographer?
So you guys know I used to shoot photography at Tilted Kilt in Elgin.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Amazing how many times I've seen, and I got to think if any of you guys were in these bands.
Probably.
Yeah, I used to play Tilted Kilt with Friction, obviously.
Yeah, so I think there was one at a Friction show where you guys threw out a shirt, and the girl that caught it, no lie, takes off her shirt right then and there.
Oh yeah.
Puts it on, and she's got no bra. She got no. And
Nice.
and I'm sitting there on stage like this, and she's looking right at me, going, "Yeah, shaking her head." And I'm like, "Ah." So
That's awesome.
I don't know that I've seen any of you guys have stage malfunctions.
All right, well, there's the segue.
Bill
There's
had
the
one.
Funny story.
I will.
And Jim,
I was
you were
there.
at the show. Jim, you were for the photographer for this show at the
I
house
will-
at the House of Blues. The first song of our set, whatever I was doing, I was rocking out, whatever, my belt broke.
Yep.
And the pants I was wearing for this, I had to have a belt because they were sliding down my hips, like literally sliding down. And thank God our guitar tech that night, Miller, was there which is hilarious that you didn't catch any of the pictures for this, Jim. But in between every song, I'm running off to the side of the stage, and Miller is pulling. After the third song, he took off the belt because the belt. I'm like, try to fix it. He couldn't fix it, and he took off the belt. I tried folding the pants over to make them tighter because I thought that didn't work. All right,
that did not work.
And the worst thing about the House of Blues is the backstage area on the stage. There's people sitting because it was sold out. There's people sitting in there. Miller, as I'm playing the song, I'm going over. He's pulling up my pants. And there's video stuff that I've had to edit out where I'm like waddling across the stage because my pants are falling down. It's hilarious, and you never caught a picture of me with it, and it's very funny.
I will say that I have. There are sometimes, Bill, when that happens, I won't go and do those kind of photos because I just don't believe there's value to them. But I will say this, that one of your other bands that you have a lead singer for, I have told him at least 3 times to zip up his zipper. and Becky is over here going, she told him once too. So I don't know what it is with Mike Dermott and not zipping up his pants, but he definitely has to zip up his pants.
We talked about singing to our significant other. You know, maybe Debbie was in the crowd. Maybe that's
that's their thing.
Oh God. All right. We are an hour 30, guys. I love that you spent all this time with me. I really appreciate every single one of you. I can't wait till you get on our stage at Huntley Fall Fest, September 25th opening up and sharing the stage with Modern Day Romeos. That's going to be a great night. Our stage is sponsored by First National Bank of Omaha, so thank you to them. And thank you guys. I really appreciate you. Have
Thanks,
fun on the
Jobo.
shows between now and then, and we'll see you out there rocking some stage soon.
Yep.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, everyone
Jim.
who watched this whole
You bet.
thing.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Joe.
Jim. Thank you, Becky. Thank you, Brian.
Yep.
We'll see you guys on the stage very soon or another one of these live streams.
Brian, sorry about all the F-bombs. I had a couple glasses of wine. I apologize.
And you're
Thank you,
naked
Becky.
in the hot tub. Thank you for not getting up.
Yes, we all thank you for that.
No, no. All right, see
Oh,
you
boy.
guys. Have a great
Thanks,
night.
guys.
All right.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
See you later, Jim.
Take care.
Later, guys.
Jobos.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Later, guys.
That was fun. Thank you, Jim.
Oh, that was great. Thanks, Chris, for being here.
Are we
Are
off?
we still live?
Are we off
We're
live?
still live.
Are we
Yeah,
live?
we're still alive for sure.
Oh, we
Yeah,
are? I'm gonna stay on. I'm gonna be the last one here. Yeah.
I'm clicking videos off.
Great
I'll
job,
put-
guys.
I'll
Oh, they're
leave you
off.
last. See you, Joe.
Yep.
All right,
Peace.
we're out. Thank you, guys.
Later.
Take care,
Yeah.
Jim.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Do I have to get off
All
now?
right. That was great. Thank you. We'll see you next week, everybody. Have a great night.